So it's Tuesday. Matt went to go get the torque converter from PTC today so we can get the transmission back in the car this week. And I'm on my way to Saxe to visit one of my buddies. Come on, let's go, people. I'm gonna visit one of my buddies who's gifting me an automatic transmission, an extra jatco. He has a pretty nasty little 260Z that is L28 ET swapped, and it's an auto car as of now that he's gonna be converting over to stick shift, so he won't have a use for that transmission anymore, and I probably will. So we have a good transmission built, ready to go in the car this week. Here's hoping we don't have to replace it again this season or rebuild it, but let's be realistic. Okay, this is a reoccurring theme here. So we're definitely preparing for if we kill the transmission again. Ideally, I'd like to do a full rebuild on this third transmission, or this new one, and have it just on standby, ready to go. So if we have trouble, we're just swapping.
In 1 mile, turn left onto Stacy Road.
So that way, if we have trouble, we just swap the transmissions and I don't have to deal with high pressure, low time, short time frame rebuilds. So that's hopefully what we're gonna achieve. If nothing else, we'll at least have a complete transmission sitting there ready to be rebuilt if need arises. But in any case, we're gonna go get that. I'm gonna check out his 260 while I'm there. It's a pretty badass little car. At the shop Friday night, time to get this puppy back into this puppy with this puppy right here. Yeah. So should be a pretty straightforward process. I think we can get it in there, get it filled up, run through the gears within about an hour and a half or so. Yeah. And we do got some other things on the list tonight, but this is the first one. So let's get this done. We got to get the injectors back in it too.
We're going to do all new E85 approved fuel hoses. Good rubber that's not going to degrade with the E85. And we're also going to put a fuel pressure sensor in there so we know what kind of pressure we're making. Up until this point, we've just been kind of hoping everything's good. So yeah. This is also going to help us determine if maybe we need to put another fuel pump in for a little bit of added pressure.
Yes. I've identified at least 2 for sure, possibly 3 fuel issues that we have to address. One of them is slosh on the launch. We've had data logs reflect that we do have lean spots once the fuel, if the fuel tank's below like what, 1/3 or something like that,
I'd say maybe
then chances are we're gonna have a lean spot right on the launch, because
which kills us, because that's where we make up a bunch of our time.
Because the pickup for the fuel cell's on the side. So one thing we need to do is rotate the cell so the pickup will be back here on the rear. The other fuel problem that we have definitively identified is we've had 2 different occasions where we got to the track and found a fuel leak. Yep. So we have old hoses. A lot of these are the original hoses that came on this car, and they're hard as a rock. They just aren't sealing up. So we got all new PTFE E85 safe hose. And the third potential problem that we think we may be having is not enough fuel delivery, just not meeting the demand for fuel. And we can know that because of our duty. The duty cycle of the injectors in our data logs is getting really high.
And God forbid the last thing we want to do is lean out when we're in 22 pounds of boost.
I mean, we have plenty of injector, so we're suspecting possibly a fuel pump problem. We have a cheap pump, but it should be able to keep up at this power level. If need be, we might just buy a second cheap pump and just run staged pumps, or just get one better pump.
We have solutions. We have options.
But we're fixing 2 things, and we're going to monitor the other with our sensor. We'll have that sensor in place so we know what the issue is. Trying to move it. Oh my God, it has reverse. Oh my God, it has reverse. It's engaging nicely. Let's see if it goes forward. Scared? No. 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 Yeah! Whoa! I'll just go behind. Hit the wipers. It was only up to like $3 grand. I know, it should be hitting have first gear, we have reverse, but it's not going into second. So we brought it back. We pulled the valve body out. This is a valve body out of another tranny that we have. It doesn't have a shift kit on it, but we're just gonna see, we're trying to figure out if maybe it's a valve problem or if it's internal to the transmission. We're hoping all we gotta do is there's something wrong in the valve body. We'll see. I did tear it apart and clean it, but at least one of the valves still feels kind of sticky. It was kind of physically hard to move. When I took it apart initially, several of them felt sticky. And so we're just gonna throw a totally different valve body that we have not opened up, just the way that it is. Watch it, that manual valve will fall out. This one right here. Yeah. And we're see what happens. And that's the plan right now. But we don't know what the hell's going on. So
We don't know shit.
we don't know anything. We're stupid idiots. But please, just be the valve body. All right, so we got the second valve body in it. Didn't really see anything wrong with the first one. Nothing that I can say for sure, anyway. We saw a lot of metallic sparkliness in the fluid that came out of it. I don't know where that would have come from. Ugh, nowhere good, for sure. Running through the gears real quick. All right. So it still moves backwards, so that's good, I guess. Drop it right into first. Nope, no second still. Well, I think what I'm going to try to talk Matt into now is swapping in that other transmission. So clearly we fucked up something on the rebuild. So it's become apparent that the problem with the transmission is something that we did in the rebuild. We failed to rebuild it. We suck. We don't know what we're doing.
We suck.
So with that realized, we're gonna just take this other tranny that we have that looks to be in good shape. It was nice and clean on the inside, and we're just gonna swap them out real quick, and then we can take this tranny out and tear it apart and just try to see what we did wrong.
We did in 38 minutes last time, so let's see how fast it goes in this time.
I think we can get the two swapped out in
less than an hour.
And yeah, I'm gonna say a little over an hour.
Less.
Matt says less. All right, well, here we go. All right, tranny install, take two. Well, the engine still starts, so that's good. Oh no. Look at that. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. The wheels are turning. The transmission's turning, but the wheels aren't. What can that mean? There's something wrong with this tranny.
This is not the right transmission.
Ah.
That's the only explanation. We have not failed twice.
Dude, the output shaft is spinning. It has to be because the speedo's spinning. Let's lift it up and have a look at what could have gone wrong. Okay, so nothing's moving now, and it's like the transmission's spinning because the speedo's spinning, and when you go to put it in park, you just hear it grind.
Grind for sure.
And I think what it is the output shaft in here is different than the spline count on this drive shaft. We know that the bell housing on this transmission was different. We know that the outside manual lever was different. It was totally different length. And so we swapped those things over, but what we didn't really account for is different output shaft, which just seems crazy that there would be the same transmission with a different output shaft spline.
It's just different, you know. It's just a little different.
We just blew it again. And I mean, it's in park right now, and I can still turn the wheels. You hear that?
Yep. That's it right there.
That's the sound of all those splines in our drive shaft going over the splines.
Well, luckily nobody is just wetting their pants to see us at the races next week because it's not race season, so we got time to figure it out. But
Yeah, and also a lot of the fuel hoses that I got to do the fuel hose modification were the wrong size. Everything from the cell is 3/8. Everything up in the front is 5/16. So we're going through all the trials and tribulations of off season this year. But we're going to call it for tonight. It's getting late, and we got work tomorrow as always.
and a meeting
And
early.
a meeting in the morning. So we're going to figure this out later. But I think what's next is I'm going to get that transmission tore apart and see if we can find out what went wrong with it.
We'll figure it out.
This one's no good to us.
Eventually.
Good news is this transmission was free, and that's the only good news. So, see you next week.